Joining us now is a public affairs analyst, Smart Akbajoye. Thank you very much, Smart, for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So looking at the ban on the plan to ban textile importation, when you heard the news, what came to mind?
Excitement.
Why?
Because before now, just like you said in your prologue, the textiles, we have so many textiles industry, and when you look at the employment created by the textile industry, almost about 30% of our workforce came from the textile industry.
Yeah.
I can remember in Ikorodu, we have Churchgate, we have Nikemtex. During the closing hours, they run 3 shifts. During the closing hours at this time, you will see massive people coming out and going in when they run their shift. So you see, it created a lot, and that is just within Ikorodu. Now, when you come to the Ilukpeju axis, you will see NP, you will see Spinters. When you go to the Oshodi axis, you will see Aswani. When you come to Eric Moore, you will see I've forgotten this thing. You will see I've forgotten this one in Eric Moore. About 5. All these companies, they were doing very well
And located in strategic areas.
Strategic areas, and then even as a young schoolboy, you could even, during long vacation, you could go to any of these places and say you want to do vacation work. You will get job. But all of a sudden, gradually, all these things begin to fade off. Now even when you go to some markets in the north, you will see foreigners, I mean, the Chinese people selling clothes, selling Ankara, Guinea, whatever that they have imported, selling it themselves in the open market. All of a sudden, we saw our industries fold up.
But how will the ban help our industries? Because we import these things. First of all, can't we just have our own local manufacturers build?
Exactly. You see,
the
moment they are banned will be forced. First, let me tell you, as a Yoruba man, there is virtually any week that perhaps, or twice in the month, that I don't buy all this Ashwebi, Ankara, whatever, for parties, whatever. Now, you see, most of these Ankaras even come from China.
Yeah.
By the time we banned the importation of textiles, the next thing you will see is that Nikemtex, okay, they are struggling to survive. Nikemtex production will shoot up. They will employ more persons.
A lot of them, from statistics, about 80% of these factories are working under harsh economic.
Yes, that is where the government have to really look at.
Yeah, okay.
You see, good. Some few weeks ago, I saw the CBN governors. First, he met with the Cotton Growers Association in the north. Then the next thing I think it should do now is that, look, the textile industries, himself and the Minister for Power should at least see these people, because I know one thing again, that has made them not to perform optimally is because in the area of power, that's energy. You see that they run generator because 24 hours.
So it eats into their own profits.
And when the cost of diesel now went so high, so it is easier for them to import rather than to produce. So what they should do again is that, look, they could have an arrangement that, look, for all these companies that produces, let us give them dedicated whatever, that they must get light constantly. And if they cannot get light 24 hours, perhaps let's work it in such a way that they could get light for 20 hours. So by the time it will go off, if they're only going to run their generator for maybe 4 hours, it reduces the cost.
What about government policies?
Government policy.
Because a lot of time, what the complaint is about the policies that are not consistent.
You see, first, like I said, they are the operators. The operators. Let the government and the CBN sit along with these people and say, look, what are your problems? What are the challenges you are facing? Because we want to solve these challenges, and in solving these challenges, look, you tell us the problem you are going through so that we can help you to ameliorate it. Okay. So that, because when you do that, first, the government is desirous of galvanizing this the textile industry. So definitely they should listen to the operators in the textile industry, in the textile sector. All right. So listening to them will help them again to readjust. If it is, we want to talk about multiple taxation.
That as well.
We want to talk about multiple taxation. They will look at it. Okay, where do you think you are being overtaxed?
Okay, so we'll talk about all of that in our next segment. Thank you very much, Smart Kwaje, for
Thank
talking
you
to
for
us on
having
this.
me.
We would recall the role the textile industry played in the early years around the 70s, how they contributed to the GDP of the country. And now the government has begun to look in that direction because it has promised to create over 100 million jobs for Nigerians, basically. But then the question is, have we really understood what led us to where the textile industry is now? Because that will help our move to revive the industry.
Yes, I will say yes, but perhaps have steps been taken that perhaps we get out of what led us to where we are. I am not too sure of that. Now, the textile industry perhaps used to be one of the largest employer of labor, if not 30% of Nigerians workers. I will take it for example. When you go to the Igomu Erikmo axis, we have Sunflag. Sunflag employed well over 6,000. And you see all the workers are from the Orile, Gomu, Jegunle, Amukoko, working there. Max movement of people in the morning, in the afternoon, and during the night shifts. And you see, the moment you are employed, of course, you will not engage in other crimes. Number one. When you come to places like Ilokweju, you will see the MPs. You see the MPs. You will see the is it a spinner or whatever? When you come to Ikorodu, you will see Nekemtes, you will see church gates. And all these employ young persons to work. And all of a sudden, we are happy we are in Nigeria made. Nobody even calls it either Nigeria or whatever. At least we could clothe ourselves decently. What happened? Now, we threw cautions into the wind. We begin to import textile materials. And because it is cheaper because the cost of production there is cheaper in Nigeria. Perhaps the Chemtex will run on diesel generator for 24 hours. And when they are running on generator, all of a sudden the cost of diesel went so high, the cost of black oil went so high because they use black oil to lubricate their machine. So when you put all this together, it increases the cost of production. And of course, from China, what does it cost them? So cheap. Do you know, right now, if you go to Lagos, there are some samples. You say, oh, you want to have a ceremony. You will pick a sample. They will say, okay, come in about 4 days' time or in 5 days' time. They will import it for you. It is importation. They're not produced here.
But will this ban help local production?
Yes, it will.
Because we're talking about the enabling environment here.
5 years.
You see, the CBO, they are good enough. The Senate also, of course, for once, I think I applaud them. They said, look, before even that they should look at what are those incentives, great incentives for the companies that will be producing here. All I expect the government to do in the first place is that, yes, they are doing well in the area of the cotton farmers.
Yes.
Giving them credit facility. Yes, increase the credit facility, encourage them the more, make it in such a way that let even the CBN even be the buyers and sell to the manufacturers. Now, number one. Number two, we'll look at, come along with the power, the Minister for Power. Let the Minister for Power create in such a way with the GENCOs, wherever we have all these companies, give them dedicated.
Will that be possible with
yes,
the situation we'll find ourselves
in? It is
now?
possible.
All right, we have to leave it at this point, Smart Kwaje, but the conversation would definitely continue. Thank you for your contribution.
Ban on textile importation. We see that in the past, we had companies here, for instance, Michelin and Dunlop. They were all here in Nigeria, and they suddenly moved to places like Ghana, and that's how we started seeing migration of companies from Nigeria to outside to other African countries with better policy and all of that. Now, how do we ensure that if we are banning importation, how do we grow our own local economy such that our own citizens can best create these platforms and grow it?
First, let me appreciate the Nigerian Senate for taking this initiative, even though I'm not too much in tune with most of their policies. But however, this is a very good one, and they deserve commendation. Quickly, it's a good thing that if we be banning importation. And also, they went and profile solution. They say, look, if you are going to do this, please ensure that you create an enabling environment for the textile industry that will perhaps emerge or recapitalize. Like before now, they've always been complaining that, look, the terrain with which they operate is very, very harsh. We look at it. As far as I know one thing that gives them problem is mostly power. Now, insecurity. All they just need to do is that let them have an interministerial committee. Okay. That we have the power, we have CBN, and we have perhaps the Minister for Industry. Again, now, you manufacturers, tell us what your challenges are, and the government should be able to tackle that challenges squarely. When they do that, couple with, call it bailout fund, call it.
We see the struggles we have had when it comes to issues of power. Over the years, we've, doled in so much money, pumped in so much money when it comes to issues of power, to the extent that the Senate is even calling for a probe. Now they said the borders should be closed by extension for 5 days because of this. 5 years, I beg your pardon. I mean, within that 5 years, can we do something, address the issues that are bedeviling issues of power?
Yes, we can. All we just need to do first, we'll tell the Gencos and Discos, look, up your game. How do we assist you to up your game? And which they have been doing. Also, give them priority. I know in Ikorodu, Nikemtes gets priority in terms of power supply. They get priority. So if other places are getting power for probably 5 hours, they get power for almost about 16 hours. That I can confirm. Nikemtes in Ikorodu. So we look at what can we do again to encourage all these people that, most especially at their peak period where they do production, that they have energy supply. If they have to make do with morning and afternoon shift, during morning and afternoon shift, give them light, and the evening, of course, cut them off and distribute.
So what happens to young people who want to get into the industry, who don't have that kind of big money to spend for big manufacturer, but can do something small?
No, you see, when you talk about the manufacturing industry, textile industry, it is for big players.
All right.
So textile industry, it is for big players because of all the, but now again, they are beginning to be, because of technology, it is not all those long line of production, just within a very thing, all you just need to do, you have your design on system, and you print it out through the fabric.
We have to leave it here
Let us see how we can encourage this thing. But honestly, for once, I am in support of the Senate proposing a ban on textile.
All right.
Fantastic.
Smart Akwejoyi, thank you for speaking to us on TVC Breakfast.